Okay, so let's start it. You went to IU. Yeah, right now you got a lot of people that say forget about school or don't need have school. They honest. You think they are IS? Tell me why. If you are gonna have to run business, if you don't have business accounting, you are already enabled and you have to get knows that they still have to communicate to you, right? I mean, there's people don't understand the concept of the difference between fullest and cast. Yeah, Captain will tell you profitable because going down, not understanding breakdown, and when you don't, do you think need a college to learn anything? Do but here man not for someone to look if you're so simply better that you can take an online course in accounting into yourself. The first thing you're away ahead of the game anyways. But more people aren't. I'm not saying you have to go Indiana. I'm not saying you go expensive school. I don't care if you go community college and accounting. Spend that day bros with class. Just know spending the money. First you do is be obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extended marketing, sales school offers that these are all of these are why possible to teach yourself. Those things require it possible to hire them. You're starting your own company, you don't always have spending hiring an accountant. So your cost or your business drops are even more important and on that's the blocking and tackling the language business. Everything I learned in Indiana that was more important than anything else. I learned how to learn. And learning become more important to me because the one certainty in business is always going to be changing. If you're not always learning to this minute, if you're not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else will take me ask. Right, so we don't talk about paranoia, but the source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If you else know more than you do, if you don't learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a trust for learning, acquire information, you as well. People like to say, there's only stupid questions. I don't ask them. That's right. You got a question, you ask them. Tell me more about you and anything else you do because in particular tell me about your preparation. You ask me questions about just basic things you have to have known and you should have gone to science that's qualify you almost more than anything. You think there needs to be a healthy level of paranoia? Absolutely, there needs to be. Oh yeah. I mean, I always say, for everyone business, I said to on keep me on us. Right, if there's a business you have, there's somebody trying to put you on, there's somebody trying to take a part of your business. It's better for you to figure out how they're going to do it rather than they do it. So you have to be paranoid. So you have to be paranoid and expect all the people's next moves. You can never without by the competition. I was at a business plan competition this morning at college and they were kind because dismiss it of commission and so you can't ever do that. They're out you're trying to test it out and that's your second system you're doing good, really good. You're inspired and work hard, even harder, faster, better. So you have to be, very self-aware of what you're good at and that other people are good at. A healthy dose of paranoia makes a bit. It's very helpful. Always learning to this minute. If I'm not consciously learning, I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to give me answers. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have trust for learning and acquire information, you are SOL. So there's some guys that have to just jump to the gym, right? There's some guys, that nobody got won't have muscle memory and discipline. Don't Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in NBA, but his discipline and his focus will what necessary to be are going to be a comparison with being skilled. It makes him an amazing basketball player who is understanding what his skill set is, putting in the right place to use those skills and then going for it. We make like you $200,000 then you pick the right industry, but whatever the industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be really smart than everybody, if you try to be better sales person everybody, and you try to be better prepared than everybody, you go for you what best because you don't do it and somebody else does. I have a saying work life when I was trying to take away of work life actually when I was spending 24 hours working. then that's kind of the way I look at it. When you say the number of one is in Bible when we fail, not necessarily what it meant. This like completely opposite. Like plans like effort, like effort, like plans like effort. It's just doing the work. There's a lot, when you walk in the room and you start business, you start to talk about somebody you are, in fact, with no competition. Let's go into a competition. That means somebody else will know your business when you do when he started. And if you're working into a competitive environment and you still know more about your business than you do and more about your customer, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about the industry. They don't know even more about business. I mean, so you're comfortable in the effort to know more about industry than anybody else. And that's brain trust and the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing. Otherwise, I want to kick your ass. We're not going up help me is, combination is usually what kills business all along more than anything. But that was all my life. If you want something, you have to earn it. It's great. I never said no, you can't do that. So whatever it was selling, get a big product, baseball cars, time, whatever it was, he never had me back. I think it wasn't as important as anything. And sometimes being you're in charge think you're so negative and you don't know any better, you learn. And if you fail, it doesn't matter. So it was 9, 10, 12, 16, 21. The fellows were equivalent, whether you're, 9, 12, 16, 21, 22, 24, I'm studying on the couch. I have a crowd with a horn or a floorball, I'm living like a broom as a student. And so what did I have to lose? So I think that influenced a person, I think, my dad was like, go for it, no, why not? What have you got to lose? Yeah. So the thing that let's say if you okay 10 minutes interview them, okay, within 5 to 10 minutes interview say this dude's not going to make is an entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean I can tell by the right, I can tell by the passion, I can tell by their focus, I can tell by their preparation. There's a whole dream of being the same person here. Here's a person that you're in and next thousand things influence. We're going to be careful. Through my experience in businesses, I can put myself in the position inside. Okay, here 900 or 1,000 things that you have to be aware of and go through and ask. And how many of those are issues that we able to address already? They can give me a sense of how hard they're willing to work. And I can't tell by the questions they ask me, so how I have to do is like, okay, what do you want to know? But I'm curious if you and I were a business could work 12 years, 3 years, and we know each other, prepare you on being who you are today. No chance, really? No chance. Tell me why. I mean, I had my good friends. We were hanging out, and it was a hostel. There's an impression it was hostel, even high school. Yeah, it wasn't in a big way, but I don't think they were saw it. In me, it was like they would look at me, always with it to succeed. So in high school, you were a fun guy, where you always the guy that made people laugh. And I was always competitive, so I was into sports. No, I wasn't credited. I was just decent. Was not an technology guy. I mean, I was into learning. I was a business guy. I was a guy reading about business all the time, reading business books all the time. Going to junior achievement and watching achievement Greek. Why were you reading business books? Because that's when I mean, I was trying that way. I started my business when I was 12. I was buying, selling baseball cars, basting stamps, and I think you could have made money. I was hustling and trying to do so worse. It was not, but not so much where it was. All my friends want to with me, so they would know. Do you think there's a proven formula that if a brand rookie guy, he was a lot of emphasis to now disrupt, but I don't know how to. You think if he follows his formula, he's going to make them cheaper? No, no, no. So don't believe the capability to make it. No, because who knows you're going to compete with. Put two people both following the same, fall apart in the same industry, right? But once you win, maybe the boss can win, when both can successful. But so I don't think that we fall them like for example, I think that you can do put yourself in bad position to succeed. Okay, so I have a lot of I have a lot of thinking about this um, videos that I'm trying to speak with this speech speed. You know, it's not like the other's video is the faster, and you know he speaks faster than the others video that I've tried, and it is even harder. His pronunciation is very clear and it's fast, so it's really hard for me to copy his how can I say that, his accents. So who knows? Maybe I'm gonna, maybe I can do it in the future, or maybe if I never give money, I'm focused on what I'm doing, I can achieve what I want. So I think that's it almost for today. Okay, that's almost. Okay.